Okay, guys, starting off laying down, find your number one most comfortable laying down position. Okay, feel free to wiggle and fidget. And because I want to ground a little extra today, I want to bring our energy and our thoughts down to earth. Put one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. Close your eyes here. Let the breath come through your nose. And find that long, slow breath. We want to cultivate that huge breath in. And we want to cultivate a huge exhale. And as you lay here and allow yourself to settle down, just recognize that it might take a few minutes to calm down, and that's okay. There's really no rush. You have all the time in the world just to be here with yourself. So allow your body to slowly soften and give in to gravity. Feel the rise and fall of your chest and your belly under your hands. Take some time here just to tune into how you're feeling. How's your body doing? Notice if your breath feels maybe a little constricted. Okay, throughout the day, we tend to collect a lot of tension in the front of the body, and the shoulders get kind of squinched up by the ears, and then we tend to cave in the front. But really smoosh your shoulder blades into the ground, widening your big chest. If your low back feels tense, try a little bit of bend in your knees and then knock them together. So you make a little tent-like shape with your legs. And see if that allows a little release in your low back. Continuing with that long, slow breath, notice all the things about your breath. Notice the temperature in. Notice the temperature of the breath coming out. Notice the sound of your breath in your ears. Now that we've come down a bit, I want to lead you in a little bit of a meditation. And this is something that anyone can do. Okay? As a matter of fact, you meditate all the time. It happens all the time. When you're zoned in on something, you find yourself just kind of blanking out, and a few minutes go by, you don't even know that time was passing. You were meditating. So this is a skill that you already practice. Let's bring in that familiar skill and harness it in this moment with your breath, with your body, and in this moment. And the way I'd like to start us out in this little meditation practice is just by using a simple counting breath pattern. And it goes like this. Okay, with your next inhale, make it last for 3 long, slow counts. So maybe something like this. Inhale, 2, 3. On your exhale, go for 6 counts. So exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now you internalize this pattern. You find a rhythm that is suiting you right now. I like to start off and then get into the rhythm of it and then try to slow it down just as much as makes sense for you. So I'll give you a couple more minutes and I'm just going to be quiet and let you breathe and be with yourself. While you're breathing and being and counting those breaths, if you get distracted, that's okay. Just bring your awareness back to this moment and back to these counts. Here we go. I'll let you know when it's time to move on. Begin to shift your awareness back to this moment. Notice how you feel after several minutes of just being present with yourself, okay? Allowing your mind to wander and then bringing it back to this moment. Meditation is not the practice of being perfect and erasing all thoughts and losing yourself in the void, okay? Meditation is the practice of seeing your mind wander and bringing it back to your focus, okay? All right, beautiful yogis. Let's start to bring in some movement. From here, just give yourself a nice stretch, okay? Let it be a really luxurious hands and feet reaching out away from each other. Make yourself really long. Make it feel really nice. And we're just going to gently begin to wake up your shoulders and your hips. So here goes. With your inhale, you're long here on the floor, everything grounded. With your exhale, pick up your left leg, point the left toes up, The right arm comes up too. See if you can just tap the left leg somewhere. And let's inhale to bring the arm and leg back to the floor. Now let's do the other side. Exhale, right arm or right leg, left arm. Tap that right leg anywhere. And inhale back to the floor. Now let's do that a few times side to side. Exhale, opposite arm and leg. Inhale, back to the floor. So we're super simple right now. Nothing fancy. We're simply just beginning to harness the breath and kind of yoke it to your movement. Exhale up. And inhale down. Every time you exhale and lift a limb, notice your strong belly muscles pulling your belly button downward toward the floor. And as you inhale back to the floor, notice your belly and your chest lifting and puffing open toward the ceiling. So we'll keep it going just like this for a few more moments, just building some gentle warmth in your limbs. Okay. If you are one who is wanting a little bit more spice right now, then you have the option of hovering your arms and legs off the ground. You can even hover your head and shoulders, okay? So that just a portion of your back is touching the ground. And this is just going to engage your core and your abs a little bit more, okay? Make sure that your belly button is grounding, pulling downward, and that low back is flush with the mat. Well, let's do 3 more times on each side. Two more times. Last one. Very nice. Next time you come back to the floor, release your body down. Okay, if you are floating, to get a little bit more core work. And let's bring the knees in, tuck them in, grab those knees and hug them in towards your chest. You can rock and kind of moosh, smash your low back around on the mat and circle it out. Okay, and then taking that circling idea up into your hips with one hand on each knee, circle out your hips. You're drawing opposite circles with each knee. And remember to rewind your hip circles. Alrighty. From here, tuck your hands behind your knees. We're just going to rock all the way up to a seat. So come on up. Okay, drop your feet in front of you. Drop your hands behind you. We're just going to warm the back body up a little more. Okay, so anytime we want to open up the low back, anytime we want to open up anything at all, we need to get a little warm first. So feel free to take it easy and take breaks. But if your hands are behind you and your feet are in front of you, make sure your wrists are really comfy here. We're going to lift the hips up and make a little crab shape, okay? So take your hips towards your heels here and then pick them up. And then take your hips towards your hands and then pick them up. So keep breathing. I like to inhale when the hips are up and exhale, hips to heels. Inhale, hips up. Exhale, hips to hands. So gentle movement here. All your joints are now involved. There's not a single joint in your body here that isn't moving. So keep your fingers active, spread your toes, keep your elbows a little bit bendy. And maybe 3 more rounds, just like this. If you need a break, drop those hips and just take a break. 2 more rounds. One more. Very nice. Go ahead and drop your hips by your heels. We're going to point the knees out to one side and then come through to hands and knees. So just flip it over. Okay, from here, let's do some wrist care. So we're going to flip the palms over. So you're looking at your palm now. Your fingers are pointing back at your knees. And if your wrists are super tender, you'll just do one at a time. Okay, but if everything's going pretty good, you can do two at a time. So from here, let's just do some little circling movements. Your shoulders are making a circle movement over your wrists. And this is just like a really nice opening for the top of your hand. You're probably feeling your forearm, and it can be really intense, so don't feel like you have to push. Okay, always feel free to back away, back out. Let's rewind this circle movement. Okay, we're going to keep the same idea. We're going to keep the palm flipping up. Go ahead and pause, and then turn your fingers out to the side with the palm flipped up. Same idea. Little circles, circle movements. Rewind that. Notice if any particular aspect of this feels particularly sticky or tender, and always honor that. Okay, now pause. Let's turn the fingers inward toward each other. Your palms are still flipped up. We're still there. We're going to circle it out. Okay, if your hands feel like they've loosened up quite a bit, you can try making like a fist. Okay, a little fist on the floor, I call it a little cat paw. And rewind it. Okay, and just to make sure we get all the directions, let's have the fingers pointing forward here. Okay, palms still facing up. Feel free to make your little cat paw, okay, by making that fist. Take it back the other way. Okay, take a moment here. You might just want to sit back and kind of shake it out. And now we're going to do the other side. We're going to do all of that same stuff, but this time it'll be palm down. So here we go. Ready? So this time your fingers will point back at your knees. You'll have the palm on the floor. And if you feel pretty okay, pretty loose here, you can try leaning back, putting your hips back on your heels, and then forward, and do it a few times, okay? Kind of rocking back and forth, really peeling open your palms and your forearms. Should always feel good. It should never, 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 never feel bad. So back off of bad feelings. Okay, and then let's circle it. Same idea, circling it out. Circle it the other way. So we do so much with our hands, and they're really, really, really under cared for. Okay, we neglect our poor hands so much. Okay, let's do the same idea. Let's point the fingers out to the side, palm down. But this time try rocking side to side. Try a little gentle rock, 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 rock. Okay, rocking and then circles. Both directions. Okay, point your fingers inward toward each other. Same idea, rock side to side. And then circles. And rewind it. Okay, just one more. One more. From From here, sit back on your heels. I like to tuck my toes a little bit. Okay, it's a great stretch for your feet. It's really good for keeping your feet healthy. So if you can stand it, tuck your toes, sit on your heels. Go ahead and get your hands up in the air here. Okay, so I want you to make like a sparkling movement with your hands. Okay, I'm showing you what I mean by that if you're not sure. Where you open and close, you make a fist and then spread your fingers wide. And we're gonna do this for another full minute, okay? It's going to be challenging, but that's okay, right? That's not a problem. Keep breathing. If it gets really challenging, just slow it down, stay with the challenge, and use that challenge as your meditation. Instead of running away from it, run back to that moment. I'm feeling challenged, okay? Stick with it. About another half minute to go. It's okay if you have to really slow it down. About 15 seconds to go. That's tough. 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Interlace your fingers here. Flip your palms up. Big breath in, and then exhale. Press your hands out to one side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, press your hands to the other side. Inhale back to center. Nice. Exhale here. Release your hands. Whew. Give them a shake out. So chances are your hands feel completely different than they did. You should have veins popping out. Okay, they feel nice and warm. So excellent work. From here, my friends, let's get back to business. Let's do some cat-cows. So just finding some gentle movement in your spine. Find a tabletop position. Grip your mat with your strong hands. Pull your heart forward on the inhale. Find a cow posture. With your exhale, push the floor, cat posture. Let your head hang. Inhale for a cow. Exhale for a cat. Keep it going. Okay, now remember that this does not just need to be front and back movement. We can make this a side to side movement. We can make it really weird and snaky. So open up all the little parts of your back that need to be opened up. Next time you pull your heart forward into a cow posture, so you have an extended spine, an arched spine. Let's hold here and just breathe, okay? Start by pulling your elbows inward, okay? And really pull back on your hands like you're trying to lift your heart up and forward. Lift your belly button into your spine and keep breathing. Feel your whole front of your ribs spreading open. One more big breath in. Exhale here, push the floor away, rounded spine, hold and breathe, push the floor. Let your head hang. Could you find a lot of space in the back side of your heart here? Spread your shoulders away from each other. One more big breath in. Last big exhale. All right, bring it back to a flat back. And let's get the right leg out behind here. Tuck the right toes, drop the right heel, okay? And we're transitioning to a little supported side plank. So if you spin on that left kneecap and point your left toes straight out to the left, then you're all set up. Go ahead and reach up with that right hand. And here we are in a little supported side plank. So take a little time to fidget so it feels really nice. So ground the outer edge of that right foot like you're sealing it to the floor. See if you could lift the right arch and make it a little extra archy. It should feel really nice in your ankle. Double check to be sure that the left knee is under your left hip, okay, directly under. And your left hand is also under your left shoulder. And when you look at the floor, the left hand, the left knee, and the right foot are in a straight line. Okay, here we are. Go ahead and reach up with that right hand. Extend your fingers so you're really spreading them wide away from each other. And then plug in that right shoulder. So you're plugging it into the socket. You want to feel your chest and shoulders turn on. Okay, let's get a little bit of engagement in your core, just so your low back stays a bit neutral. So pull that belly button in slightly. And then we'll start to circle out the right shoulder. So here we go. Circle it out. Nice and slow. So do your best to isolate this movement. The tendency is your rib cage is going to want to come along, but plug that shoulder in and isolate. Now rewind it. Okay, this time maybe instead of spreading your fingers, you push through the palm. Okay, from here, friends, reaching up with that right hand, go ahead and pause right there. And I want to just enjoy this posture for a little while. Okay, just be in it. So we can take this a few different places, depending on what you want in your right shoulder and armpit. For example, if you want more space across the front side of your chest, all you really need to do is just lean back. Okay, you can think of peeling open your arms like you wanted to open super wide. Okay, I want you to feel big space across your chest. You can even turn your your right arm into a cactus arm, so bending at the elbow, and maybe peel open a little more. So this might be where you want to stay, or you might eventually move into reaching the right hand away from the right foot. And you'll feel right away that this is going to give you more length across the right side, moving into your low back, okay? So no matter where you are, no matter what you're playing with here, please lift your belly button up and in towards your spine so you're not just extending into your low back. And breathe deeply into your ribs. Feel free to close your eyes. I'll take a few more breaths here. This is one of my most favorite postures because it really does help to open up that whole right side. All right, one more big breath here in your supported side plank. And as you're ready, we're coming down. So let's get that right hand back on the floor next to the left. Go ahead and spin the right knee back to the floor. So you're back in a little tabletop position. From here, let's take a little child's pose just to bring ourselves back down. So sit on your heels, drop your head, and we'll just be here for a few breaths. Check in. How are you feeling now? Notice the right side, notice the left. Notice the front of your body and the back. Notice the upper body and the lower. Okay, friends, as you are ready, bring it back up to hands and knees. And we're just going to switch sides. So we'll take the left leg out behind. Okay, I like to tuck the toe, drop the heel, and then spin on that right knee. So you point your right toes out to the right. And then you're all set up. The left hand can reach up. And you're in your little supported side plank. And I'll spin around to face you. Okay, so take your time. You have plenty of time to fidget and make it feel just right. Let's ground the outer edge of the left foot. So really press it down. See if you could lift the left arch a little bit. Great opening across the top of your foot. That right knee is precisely positioned under your right hip for maximum support. It feels great in your hip as well. Dropping into that right hand under your right shoulder. Everything is aligned, okay? And now you're ready to strengthen in that left shoulder. So we're activating the shoulder joint. All the muscles that wrap around it are wrapping inward, in towards your torso. So spreading your fingers wide, we'll start to circle out the shoulder. Okay, if you notice that your rib cage is trying to come along for the ride, isolate it a little more. Notice the warmth building in your shoulder. Let's rewind this. Maybe push through the palm this time. Make sure the bottom elbow is a little bit bent too, okay? The bottom elbow is not locking for sure. Okay, go ahead and reach up with the left hand and we'll just pause here and we'll just be in the posture and just kind of soak it in. So remember, no matter what you're gonna get into in this side plank, keep your belly button pulling into your spine, okay? Otherwise, we could just be collapsing into the low back. So keep your low back safe and neutral as you can. And then maybe you're just opening up your chest here. You can think of just leaning back and peeling open the left side of your chest upward. Think of using your big shoulder blades to lift up your big soft heart. Okay, option B, you can cactus the left elbow and peel back a little bit more. Okay, option C, you're just reaching way away from your left foot with that left hand. So you're spreading open the left side. No matter where you are, breathe. Okay, keep that low back neutral, using your belly muscles. Feel free to look in whatever direction feels natural. If you find yourself straining to look in one direction, there's no reason to strain. So always look where it feels natural. Maybe one more breath here in your supported side plank. And we're letting it go. Okay, let's come back down with the left hand. So you're finding yourself back on hands and knees. And let's press it back again to a child's pose. So come on down. Hips to heels, forehead all the way down. So we're back on the ground. We're taking a moment to check in again. How do you feel? Notice everything that's happening right now on your mat. Your breath. Notice your heartbeat. Notice the movement of your torso that accommodates your breath. Sensations in your body. here, grip that mat. Pull yourself back up to hands and knees. Okay, and I want to sit the hips over to one side now and come down to a seat. You can just have your feet out in front of you, just shake out your legs. So I'm going to get a little bit more into your low back. So here we go. Grab this right foot and you're going to bend your right knee and plant your right foot very close to your body. So if it doesn't come super close, that's really not a problem. You can just put it as close as it wants to be. Okay, don't feel like you have to strain. But let's get the right arm on the inside of the right leg. Okay, so it's a little bit of extra awareness to put some weight down into that right hip. It tends to want to peel up. So put the right hip down nice and squarely. Fingertips on the floor. Make your spine nice and long. Okay, and if it's really hard to sit up straight here, maybe it doesn't feel very easeful, you feel kind of stressed about it, don't worry, try this. See if you want to just put a little bend in the left knee, okay? It should give you a lot more freedom to sit up tall. So feel free to bend the left knee more or less. Okay, so we'll start to just walk the fingers out toward that left foot. So you have a long spine here. And your thought as you flex that left ankle is that you want to move your left toes towards your heart and your heart towards your left toes. So let's just breathe here. Having your long spine can be quite enough to think about. So this might be where you stay, all right? And this is a great place to be. You can close your eyes, move your shoulder blades away from your ears, and just sit down in your hips as you move your heart towards your left foot. If you want a little more, if you want to move more deeply into your low back, more deeply into your hips, here's what you can start to experiment with. Make a bend in your right elbow. Okay, I call it a chicken wing. So make a little chicken wing and experiment with getting your right tricep, the back side of your upper arm, onto your right shin, okay? This will be different for everyone. For some of us, they don't contact, and that's okay. Just keep experimenting and thinking about that feeling, okay? If your right tricep does contact your right shin, experiment with the sensation of pressing them together. So you can use the right tricep on that right shin to move your heart a little bit further forward. So play around with that. This might be enough for you to play around with today. So feel free to stay here. You can keep going if you like. You can get the right armpit onto the right shin, okay? Okay, so that's just another step on the ladder. Not one step is better than the last. It's like a spectrum, okay? If you want to keep going on the spectrum of this posture, you can wrap that right arm around your leg, and tickle your back, kind of where your kidney is. See if you can just tickle your right kidney. If everything's still going pretty well and you want to keep exploring, send the left hand behind your back as well to find your right, okay? They might find each other today and they might not. It doesn't matter, okay? They might find each other another lifetime. It doesn't really matter. But if you want to explore, please do. Make sure it feels good. Wherever you are, breathe. Lengthen your spine. Lengthen your neck. If you have that right leg bound up in your arms, give it a really robust squeeze, as if you intended to fuse it into your torso. Let's take a few more long, slow breaths here, yogis. I'm just giving you some time to be here. With every breath, you're adding a little more length to your spine. You're sending that heart a millimeter closer to the left big toe. looking for a little bit more ease in this posture. Anything you can do to add ease. Let's take one more really nice big breath in here. And then let it go. See if you can come out slowly without exploding. All right, come out in slow motion in the same order that you came in. Press yourself back up. And then just push your right knee to the floor. Okay. And let's think of pointing the right knee a little further out to the right here. Okay, tucking the right foot in really, really close to your hips. Okay, I like to tuck it so that the bottom of the foot flips up. Okay, and then take the left leg further out to the left. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but take it out so that you feel some nice opening on the inside of your leg. Okay, and then remember to keep your legs active. So they don't have to be 100% cranked, okay? But do put some activity so that you're gently resisting the floor. And you can flex, point, or floint the left foot. Just make sure it's on the clock. Okay, we have the left hand to the right hip here. Right arm up. Okay, make sure that you are grounding down into that right hip. So make it super rooted. And then we're going to make this extreme slow motion. So take your time, lengthening through all sides of your torso on the inhale. Exhale and simply press into the right hip. Allow that to passively move your upper body a little bit to the left and pause there. Again, inhale, lengthen through all sides of your torso. Exhale, push down a little more into the right hip. So we'll take several more breaths like this. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, root. Again, lengthen. And root. Keep going, just like this. Okay, find your pace, find your rhythm. Remember to stay long and grounded. At some point, you will have lengthened as much as you will out to the left, okay? And you have options. If you need some support, you can put that left elbow on the floor or on your left thigh to support yourself so that you have more ease to be here. Okay? If you're feeling pretty good and you can kind of sink downward and you still have that right hip grounded, maybe you want to tickle your left toes with your right fingers. Only if it feels good. Close your eyes. We'll take some more time here. Inhale, lengthen all sides of the torso. Exhale, ground that right hip. Remember, your neck is long. If you find your neck disappearing into your shoulders, lengthen it. And let's take maybe 3 more long, slow breaths right here. Notice your low back on the right side, just spreading open, releasing everything, all the tension that you don't need anymore, anything that you don't need, stale energy, old thought patterns, old movement patterns, anything, let it go. Use your breath as a tool to clean yourself out. Invite in new and positive thought patterns and movement patterns. As you're ready, yogis, no rush. Use your right fingers on the floor, on the left to gently press yourself up. All the way back up to a seat. And from here, we'll just switch sides. So plain and simple. Let's get the right leg out to be the long leg, and the left foot will come in, plant it next to your hips. Okay, so once again, we'll square off on that right foot. So that's going to be the direction that your shoulders are facing, and your heart once again wants to be close to your toes. So that'll be another side, just like the other side. Okay, fingers down around the right leg. And remember to keep the right leg long and strong, and always gently resist the floor. So start to fold, moving your heart towards that right big toe. The right big toe also moves towards your heart. And just pause. I like to pause at first where my spine starts to round, okay? Okay, where you feel your spine starting to round, that's when you can just take a moment, let the posture just begin to do its magic and continue to lengthen your torso on all sides. Nice breath. So you can stay right here, okay? Or you can start to experiment with this little chicken wing on the left side. So the left elbow can hook in front of the left knee, left tricep to the left shin. And you can just play with that relationship, okay? Just exploring. For some of us, we're just exploring what it means to even get the elbow in front. So let that be your practice, if that's where you are. Okay, if it's all right, use the elbow to press the heart forward. Remember to move slowly. There's really no reason to race to the finish here. We have lots of time to be here. Okay, maybe that left hand can crook behind and around to tickle your left kidney. Maybe the right hand comes looking for the left. They can join and grip each other. Okay, no matter where you are is perfect if it feels good and you're still having a good time. So take your time here. Close your eyes. We're just going to be here. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. Long spine, inhale. Resist the floor, exhale. Perhaps you have that leg in your grip. You've bound the leg in your arms. You're going to start to squeeze that leg in towards your torso. You might find that this posture brings up a lot of warmth in your body and create a lot of heat. Okay, and that's okay. Just embrace that, be with that, notice. Observe how these postures affect your body. Let's do one more really long, slow breath here. Come out slowly, the same way you came in. And once you're back up in a seat, let's bring the left knee to the ground. And then point the left knee out to the left. So take it out there a little further. And perhaps that gives you a little bit more space to tuck the left foot in very close to your hips. Almost that the foot flips bottom up. Okay. Let the right leg go a little further out to the right. Okay. And do what you like with your foot. Just make it active. So the legs are not asleep. They are actively resisting the floor with at least a little bit of juice. Okay, so right hand on the left hip now. Remember to ground that left hip. So we're inhaling here, left arm up. You're long on all sides of your torso. And as you exhale, push into that left hip. Okay, let the push down move your upper body almost by default. And then pause. Inhale and lengthen your upper body a little more. Exhale, push down into the left hip. Now you keep going, breathing this way. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, root. Keep going, keep breathing. And at some point, you will have moved as far as you would like to move into this posture. And then you can either support yourself with the right elbow on the ground or your right thigh, okay? Or you can embrace the length in your torso and think about tickling those right toes with your left fingers. Okay, but don't uproot that left hip. Keep your grounded hip. Keep your long neck. Try to take all the creases out of the right side of your body by lengthening your torso. Nice breath. We'll take a few more breaths here, okay? All right, yogis, maybe one more really nice breath here. And as you're ready, use the left fingers near the right knee to press yourself up. And now, because we're here, we're perfectly set up for it, let's just take a straddle. So take your legs nice and wide. And again, it doesn't have to be anything super crazy, okay? You can also, if it's hard to sit up straight with your feet away from each other, you have the option to bend your knees, and that should make it a whole lot easier to sit up straight. So please keep that option open for yourself, okay? Whatever you do with your feet is awesome. Just make them strong so they're not asleep. They're awake. Your legs too, the front, back, sides of the legs, it's all on, okay? Not 100% per se, maybe 5 to 10%. And we're going to kind of luxuriously fold forward. So if your knees are bent and you just kind of want to just walk your hands a little further forward and allow your head to hang, and that's quite enough for you, then that's where you're going to be. And that's amazing. Just breathe. Okay. If you have your legs a bit more extended and you walk your hands out and you find that you could come down to your elbows, go ahead and do that. And that's great too. So we're all going to be really different here. So don't feel like you need to be one way or the other in this posture. It's perfect, whatever you're doing. As long as your neck is long, your low back feels good, okay, and your legs are at least a little bit active. So some of you are going to feel like you want to just stay where you are. Some of you are going to want to keep going, okay? And if that's kind of where you are, you want to keep going, you can walk your hands out, you can bring your forehead down. Okay, you can even take your arms wide and think of kind of hugging the floor. It's going to be different for everyone. So we'll take a few more breaths here. Activate those legs. Think of plugging each leg into the hip socket. So actively pulling the legs inward. Notice how this feels in your low back and the whole backside of your body. So you might feel all the way up to the back of your neck and the base of your skull, getting a little gentle opening here. Maybe one or two more long, beautiful breaths wherever you are. And then from here, we'll start to back up out of this. So start to walk your hands back in by your hips, okay? And your legs probably are going to be a little bit noodly here. So you might just want to pick up each leg. So I like to use my hand as a spatula and pick up each knee and swing the legs back toward each other. So swing the feet back together. Okay. Get yourself long ways so you can lay down on your mat and go ahead and roll it all the way down. Give yourself a hug here. Take a few breaths, just hugging the knees in and rocking your low back out on the floor. All right, from here, release your legs and take your arms to the floor in a cactus shape. So really scoot your shoulder blades underneath your heart and just drop your knees to the right. Look over to the left here. And spend a few moments just breathing deeply into this twist. We want long, slow inhales into your chest. And long, slow exhales using your belly muscles. When we're twisting, we want to use the full, complete breath as much as you can, inflating to the max, deflating to the max. Okay, use that maximum breathing. As you're ready, bring the knees through center and over to the left. Just drop them on the left. Now you are looking to the right, away from your knees. And let's breathe here. Swing the legs back through center here and then extend your legs out long on the floor. Now let your hands float down by your hips. Give a little tuck of your shoulder blades underneath your heart, and you have arrived in Shavasana. Here you are. Allow your breath to soften back into its natural pace. You're no longer controlling it or harnessing it. It's just free and wild. Allow your body to soften as well. Okay, no longer doing anything, no longer activating, no longer resisting, no longer grounding. You're just being. Watch your thoughts. Take a moment, sinking back into that meditation, just watching the moment pass. Noticing sounds and sensations. Please take as long as you can just to give yourself this time. Just rest here. Okay, at least 5 minutes more if you can. Longer is better. This is where I'll leave you for our practice today. Thanks so much for joining me.